Today's Thursday, April 22nd, and you're tuned into NEZ SEZ, a place where musicians can come together and inspire each other to play more guitar. Thanks for being here with us, and we have a very special show tonight. I'm David Nesdahl, and this is my co-host, Ty Price. Hey, Ty.
Hey, Dave. I'm so happy to be with you tonight, as every Thursday, and I'm very excited to introduce someone that I call a friend. I'm a big fan of, Mr. Charlie Stitchcomb. We all know him as Liquid Charlie. He is a prolific rock guitarist from Kent, UK. He is heavily influenced by 80s rock music and is best known for writing and producing instrumental guitar videos online. 36,000 followers on Instagram. Liquid Charlie's style is a blend of advanced technique mixed with a strong sense of melody and an amazing ability for composition. His videos capture fun, they're artistic and energetic. These performances that he is able to capture in these videos that he posts, they've been inspired by or of his own composition. So we know that he's deeply inspired by EVH, and we want to have that conversation with him tonight. And while he's serious about music, he's also passionate about its execution, as evidence in how he creates these videos and shares them with all of us. There's always an element of fun, and it always showcases Charlie's great sense of humor. He released a video today called Lost Balance. We're going to talk about all of it. Please welcome Liquid Charlie to the show.
Hey, welcome, Charlie.
Thank you very much. This is awesome to be here. Very cool.
Well, we're so happy to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say hello to everyone in the chat. Hello, everyone in the chat. Wayne and Curie, Terry Himes, the Chad, my buddy Chad. Sent your guitar out today, Chad. Boy, did that one hurt. Let's see. Michael James is here. Jeff Cornell is here. Fruitcake Tony is here. Ben Coombs is here. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Ben, thank you for talking to Pete Thorne for me. I appreciate that, and I want to thank you for reminding him about my birthday and getting my name out there. That's really nice of you. Appreciate it. Johnny Bean. Johnny Bean, you are not late. Right.
Hello, Johnny Bean.
Johnny Bean. We're going to have a good show on Johnny Bean tomorrow night. You got to catch that one, too. We have a good guest on there. I'll tell you about later. Ty Price is here. Let's see who we got. We got Bent Tom here, and Brendan B Squared, Brendan Butt Cheeks, Charlie S.
That's not me.
Nope. Dry Heat 480, Joe Hervey 84.
There's loads of people.
David Ennis. David Ennis, nice to see you. Let's see. We have F.U. Tone is here. Hey, Adam, what's going on?
Hey, Adam.
Janice Lala's here. Sean Zimmerman is here. And that is it at the moment, but I'll say, oh, John Mancuta's here. Hey, John. Shauna Marie Sittings is here. And I'll keep saying hello as they all come in. Welcome. Welcome, Liquid Charlie. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm actually possibly enjoying lockdown a bit too much.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? It's nice to stay home to play guitar for 7 hours a day.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've been putting in like 8 to 10 hour days again on like the music I'm writing and just playing in general, and it's just guitar. And then a bit of TV in the evening and food occasionally. So, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure we should be having that much fun, but there we go.
No, we shouldn't be.
And
in fact, where's your mask? Where's your face?
That's a very good question. Yeah. I've got some tissues. I have got some masks. Yeah.
You've been very productive during this quarantine. You released a new EP called Liquid Lockdown. Tell us about, aside from the obvious inspiration for the EP, tell us about the compositions on the EP and how they arrived.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, the one that made me decide to do it, like to actually put it out, because I hadn't put anything out up until this point, other than just the videos on YouTube. It was Back to the Start, because I wrote that for the Traveller guitar, believe it or not, because I knew Adam would arrange for it to be sent and all of this for me, and from FU Tone, that is. And so I thought, right, I better write something for that. So that's the song that I wrote initially. And then the Traveller guitar turned up. And like within a couple of hours of having it, I'd already written this other song called The Vibrant Traveller, or whatever I called it. I can't remember. The Traveller.
The Traveller.
Yeah, that was it. And I thought, oh, I'll do that, because I'll use that, because I actually wrote that on that guitar. So that ended up becoming, you know, that song. And that all happened. I think I came up with the idea, and it was like an hour and a half. I'd got like the basic song structure all down, you know, roughly. And then the next day I went in and I polished it all up, re-recorded it, filmed it, and whatever. And then I was thinking about that and the other one that I'd written. I thought I should do a video for that. So then I did this Back to the Start song, made the video with the stealth. And quite a few people said they wanted to download it. And I thought, you know what? I've got the time. I'll just, you know, arrange for this to be a thing. Why not? So I thought, I'm going to need one more song. What's the other song? Oh, that was, sorry, this is rubbish. What was the name of the other song? That Won't Make It Right. That's right. It's
That
so
Won't Make It
tough
Right.
naming instrumentals. How do you name an instrumental? Jesus. Anyway, so that one, I just wrote that the day I kind of made it, sort of thing. So I thought, well, that's it. Now I've got 3, and I just put it out. It really wasn't a planned thing at all. It was just kind of, might as well, you know. I thought, because I think the reason I really decided to do it was because my production of the music had got to a point where I was like, I'm actually happy with that, you know, because before, the drums have always been a bit weak. And, you know, the production just wasn't quite there. Whereas at this point, I think I kind of got to a place where I'm like, I'll let people buy that. You know, I feel like it's actually may have a slight value. So, yeah, so that was how it really came about. And then obviously the title it just comes from putting liquid in front of everything. So it was like, oh, lockdown. Ooh, liquid lockdown. That sounds good. And then I thought, oh, that's the name of the EP. So yeah, totally unplanned. And the picture I use for the cover is just the picture when I first got my Black Wolfgang special, and that's it. It's all just totally just off the cuff, really. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it, though. I'm happy that I got it done, and it's really good to actually have something out there for people to download and be recognized as an actual artist. Because the whole time you're just on YouTube, you're not really an artist until you've actually put something out, are you? So yeah, that's it.
Well, that's very cool.
Well, it's an amazing EP. For those in the chat that have never had a conversation with Charlie before, he's a very modest, humble guy. Yet we all watch his videos in awe, listen to the recordings with I don't know, with excitement and with envy. I mean, he is definitely one of those players that inspire you to pick up your guitar and play. So, Charlie, how did the journey all begin for you? I mean, when did the guitar begin speaking to you? When did you first pick it up? Is there one defining moment for you that when you said, this is exactly what I want to do? How did it begin?
Okay. Well, I was off school sick, and I was off sick quite a lot. I was a sickly child. Anyway, and it meant that I was at home a lot, and my sister had a classical guitar. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try and play that. And I knew I wanted an electric guitar at this point because I was really into Bryan Adams. And it was around, I suppose I got into electric guitar around 91 when Everything I Do It For You. It was at #1 for like 16 weeks.
Sure.
I don't know what it was in America, but it was incredible. And that solo, and then the extended version of that song, and there's a solo at the end, and it's just amazing. Like Keith Scott is his note choice is ridiculous.
Oh my goodness,
Keith Scott's one of my favorite guitar players.
Yep, mine too.
Yeah. He's the reason why I love Stratocasters.
He's the reason I bought mine. Yeah. So it I don't know, that really kind of spoke to me, I guess. But then I didn't try and play guitar until 95. Before that, I was using a tennis racket and pretending, round the wrong way, as we all do. Anyway, so it was like, right, okay, well, I'm going to try and do this. And my dad said, oh, well, you can't have an electric. This was on the first day. You can't have an electric until you can play a tune. And anyway, so like on the first day, I picked out the blues thing, that thing.
Sure.
And you know, and it was all just kind of by ear. And then I learnt a couple of chords. My sister showed me like D and A and A major scale on one string. And anyway, that was it. And like a month or so later, it was my birthday, and I got an electric guitar. I got a Hohner Rockwood LX90, I think it is. And do
you still have it?
And that was it. No. Someone, I lent it to someone. They then sold it for drugs.
Oh my God!
Right, and then about 5 or 6 years later, died. So not.
Oh
related.
no! Oh no!
Yeah. So I have no idea where that is, but it's striped. It was taped. Anyway, I did buy one. Someone was selling the same guitar on eBay for 30 quid, so I bought that. Oh. And then I taped it up and made it exactly the same. So I've got my own replica.
That's awesome.
Ridiculous. My own replica.
What a story.
That's a great story.
Great. It's rock and roll. It's a shame he died though, because we wrote quite a lot of music together. Anyway, yes, it's a rather low point, isn't it? Sorry.
That's okay.
So then it was learning Bryan Adams. So the first song I ever learned was Summer of '69, you know, the intro. And I was trying the picking part. And I was obsessed with Run to You, like the riff. And the solo, it's like, the solo might be doable, maybe.
The solo is easy. You can probably even get away with doing both parts.
Yeah. So I was really into that. And I had a friend at school who also played guitar, and he'd been playing a bit longer than, well, quite a lot longer than me, so he could actually play. And I was always kind of intimidated by his playing. And there's a song on Waking Up the Neighbours called House Arrest. And it's got this kind of intricate rhythm part in it. I was like, how the hell do you do that? I can't do that. And he could do it, and it used to really piss me off. Anyway, he got me into Van Halen. So he lent me, he said, oh, you need to watch this. And he lent me Right Here, Right Now. So this would have been in 95. And then he had Sky, which I've never had. So he was recording all the stuff from the Balance tour that was on like MTV and whatever. And so he'd lend me this, and like it would be on permanent rotation. You know, we'd always, have it back for a week. I'll have it. And then, you know, just totally obsessed. Once the Van Halen thing started, once I got round the fact it was a lot heavier than Bryan Adams and Roxette, because it was like, you know, it opens with Pound Cake and then into Judgment Day, and it's like, whoa, when you've just listened to Bryan Adams and Roxette for most of your life, it's a bit shocking. But like just his playing, it was just like, I need to be able to do that, and I need that guitar, which I still haven't got. So that was really the start of it. And then I've never had lessons. I taught myself. Shall I carry on? This is going on for ages.
No, please do.
So you
wait,
literally
before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, joining us for the first time, the guy that got me started on these things, Mr. Johnny Bean.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome
Charlie.
to the Johnny Bean Show.
Hey, Charlie.
Johnny Bean.
Good to see you,
How's
man.
it going? Good to see you.
Good.
Awesome.
Hey, Johnny.
I've met Johnny Bean in person. We're the same height.
That's not saying much.
No, Charlie's taller than I am.
Am I?
No.
I've got a photo. We're the same height. We're the same.
We're
height.
about-
I
we're
maybe
about the
had
same.
high heels on.
Yeah. We're about the same size.
Yeah, amazing.
Johnny,
So-
so glad you could join us.
Thank you, man.
Excellent.
Yeah, we've got Dave, we've got YouTube royalty with us. We've got Charlie and Johnny.
You're damn right. I know. It's amazing. It's amazing. I never thought Johnny would even want to come on my show.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
That's right, Adam. Yeah, we are kind of like twins. You and me.
What does Adam say?
He said we're wait, where'd it go? Johnny and Charlie are twins.
Johnny.
That's it. My buddy Lenny Camp is here. Lenny, another great Long Island guitar player with like his guitar collection's crazy killer. Great player.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. And yes, Johnny, I did hear everything that Charlie said earlier. I was just trying to get, when I was looking down, I was looking for your name on, when I was texting you as I was listening. So I did hear it, and I see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So Ty, ask that question that you were just about to ask. I'm sorry I
All
interrupted.
right. No, you're good. So you literally came out of Bryan Adams and went straight to Pound Cake.
Yeah. So
And you did a 180 at that point.
yeah, that was it. It was obsessed with Bryan Adams, and I remember like the point where I'd been listening to Van Halen for a few months, and I was like, I love this band, but Bryan Adams has always been number one, and I remember feeling slightly bad that I was potentially leaving Bryan Adams behind. I was like, I don't know if I can do that. Is that right? But he's always been my favorite. Anyway, so yeah, I got into that, but then I think it was December '95. Guitar Techniques magazine, which is a British one, they were doing A to Z of greatest riffs, and I think maybe it was November and December. Anyway, it was part 1 and part 2. So that was like, I bought part 1, which was my second ever guitar magazine I bought, and it had Eddie on the front, and
Sure.
so there was like Ain't Talking About Love, I'm the One, Panama, Hot for Teacher, all these riffs, and you had you heard of Phil Hilborn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was doing like the CD that came with it, and he'd he'd play it to you, meant a sound. So that was really the start of learning Van Halen. So I don't know. I think I probably tried Ain't Talking About Love first, and then tried I'm the One, but ridiculously slow and just not getting it right. The tab looks so simple, doesn't it? It's so deceptive.
Yeah. Way to go for that one first. Yeah.
Yeah, go for the one at 238 BPM. Definitely start with that. Anyway, so yeah, it started there, and then it was like, right, I need to learn these songs from Right Here, Right Now, and I'd always pick stuff up by ear. Like I remember tabbing out the solo from Heaven by Bryan Adams and stuff like that. So I was always kind of developing that without really realizing it. And then I eventually got the tab book for Right Here, Right Now, which I still have, and it's like a Bible, isn't it? It's incredible. Not as much of a Bible as Passion and Warfare. That's a ridiculous tab book. Anyway, and so I started learning things like Pound Cake and all of that, and I still like really cherish the memory of getting a tab book, because it was just like the answer to everything. It was like, oh, if I get that tab book, then I'm going to be able to play this. I remember having that with that tab book and the OU812 one. It was like, I'll be able to play Cabo Wabo, and I'll be able to play, it was really exciting. So, so then it started, and I was just trying to copy from what I saw on the video, really, how he did things. And I got everything wrong, because obviously I was self-taught. So I had all kinds of bad habits, and tapping confused me, and horse neighs, I didn't know how he did it. I thought he would have to like press a pedal to boost the signal so that it would pop out and be as loud as everything else, because I was getting them so quiet. But anyway, totally wrong. Anyway, I eventually kind of got the hang of it, and I got in a band like a year and a half into playing, I guess, just like a teenage punky Green Day, Nirvana kind of band. yeah, and then it was like, right, well, I can do all this, and but I found I could only play this, you know, some of the solos, and I'd only learn in bits. I wouldn't learn full solos. I just learnt the bits I like. And the same goes for the riffs, really. It's only the last few years I've actually kind of made myself learn songs properly. But and it was like, right, well, I can do this. So let's say I could do the Panama solo, but it's of no use to me other than when I'm playing along to Panama. So what am I really gaining by this? And I kind of realized I needed to learn the theory behind it, to be able to use it myself, you know, to be able to take it and put it in the songs that I was recording. Because I started recording songs like in the first year. I got a Tascam Porter Studio 2, and I wrote hundreds of songs on that. But yeah, and it was like, well, I want to be able to solo comfortably in that style, you know, on my own and whatever. And because I never really learnt the licks properly, some of them kind of became my own version of them and whatever. And so I started teaching myself theory, which has taken years really to actually get the knowledge I have now. That makes me sound like I'm some sort of guru, but I'm not. But I know enough to, you know, get by and understand how to solo over most things bar ridiculous jazz. So it was like, right, okay, well, let's start incorporating this in and whatever. And then I started working at a music shop, and the guy there told me I should be teaching. And so I started teaching, and reluctantly, it felt terrible charging someone for my time. And then it was like, right, I really need to understand. And this is a thing that still happens now when I teach. It's like people will ask questions because I don't follow you know, like a book as such. It's like, I will teach you what you want to know, and I will explain it to, you know, its fullest extent if I can. So it meant I really need to understand what I'm doing to be able to tell someone else clearly, well, this is this scale and you would use it like this and blah, 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 blah. You know, so teaching for the last 15 years has really developed my knowledge and, you know, and just the whole thing really. It makes you look at your own technique. And like recently I've done a few lessons online, you know, looking at the technique of, say, Eddie, and that everyone copies this hand, the fretting hand, but very few people actually look at his picking hand. And I don't pick anything like Eddie, but I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to actually try and emulate how he picks and like really look at what he's doing? And I'll get into it maybe later if anyone's interested, but it's absolutely fascinating, you know, because no one picks like that. Really, I mean, people do the tremolo picking thing where they rock their hand back and forth.
Yeah,
yeah.
The wrist comes out
And
on the tremolo.
I've eventually learned to do that now. I can just about do it, but I hadn't been able to do it for years. And that was something the kid at school that was my friend could always do, and I never could. Really annoying. Anyway, there we go. That's it. Hopefully that answers the question.
So when you're the purpose of you diving into the theory bit, was it was to, so you were focused on technique, and then you wanted to dive into the theory, and so when you're writing now, how much of the theory aspect comes into play when you're writing, or is it primary or secondary to your composition?
Totally secondary, really. I don't think about it. I think, you know, when I'm writing, say, a rhythm part, and if it modulates or I don't need to think, because when I'm writing it, I'm thinking, oh, well, that's changed to this key. I just know immediately that that's what's happened. So it will be obvious to solo, you know, you change the notes for the solo or the melody or whatever at that point. So yeah, there's no real thought about that. And like, even with harmonies, harmony parts, I generally go by ear more than anything, because a lot of the time you're not just going to be playing straight thirds. It kind of jumps about for it to sit right, you know. So yeah, no, I don't think about it. And yet I am, because I teach a lot, I'm always talking about music theory. So it, you know, it's definitely part of my week to talk about modes and time signatures and blah 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 blah, blah, you know, all that stuff. Even though I only ever write in 4/4, but yeah.
Well, since you opened that door, I want to walk through it. So, when you're teaching students today, Charlie, what do they want to learn? What do they want to learn from you? When they come to you, are they technique driven first, or I mean, what do they want to learn? What do they want to learn from you first?
The last year, I've been really lucky with the students I've had because they're all, because of my following in the Van Halen kind of circles. They're all into Van Halen, and a lot of them already play. So they can play Panama, they can play this, they can play that. And so some want to learn the technique and want to focus in on that. Why can't I get this faster, or whatever? Or why doesn't it sound like the actual song when I play it? I'm playing the right notes, but it doesn't sound right. But then so then others like to just look at the technique, and then I'm trying to think what else I do. So most people want to know how to solo in the style of that's the thing. It's that, how do you take that and just improvise with it? Take those licks and make a Van Halen style solo, and like in my head, that's the easiest thing to do, because it's like, right, okay, well, I've got this lick here that's in A, I've got another Van Halen lick that's in A, I've got another one that's in A, let's try and improvise with those three. It's that simple. That's a start anyway. Without having to transpose a thing. You just take 3 licks from 3 songs in A, try and jam over a blues in A using those licks. Eddie's done it with the same 15 licks for however many years. His solos, he had these go-to phrases. So it's kind of easy to see how to improvise in that style, because that's all it is. And with a player like Eddie, we all know his licks inside out because we're obsessed. So it's like, right, well, he's taken that one from there and that one from there, and you can hear it. That's what he's doing. And obviously he's learned to improvise with his own licks because they're his. And that's what I try and teach. It's like, I always use the Panama solo as an example, because you can really break down his solos into different licks, and a lot of them are very familiar that you've heard. And so it's like, right, well, if I take them individually, understand how they relate to like the pentatonic box, so I can then shift it into any key I like, then that means you can solo over anything. Sorry, I'm giving a guitar lesson now. Yeah.
I mean, I want to ask one more question in respect to that. So, I listen to a lot of your music, Charlie, and there's a lot going on. You just mentioned harmony. I want to come back to that. But since you opened the structure around this pentatonic box, do you think modally? When you think modally, do you think around the construction of a pentatonic box? So yeah. If you do, okay. So if you're thinking around a pentatonic box and you're looking at it from that perspective, and then you're going to shift to more of a Dorian mode, you're raising the 6th within that pentatonic. I mean, are you thinking about the construction like that, or are you thinking about the note choice that you're going toward first?
I think, well, to start with, when I was learning about modes and trying to understand all that stuff, which was ridiculously tough to get my head around for a long time, the thing with learning modes from a book is it teaches you the 3-note per string scale.
Sure.
And that's how, so when someone says, oh, play an E Lydian, they'll jump to 3-note per string scale licks.
Right.
And it sounds like you're playing a scale. And it's like, right, okay, that's not really that musical.
Right.
So where are the cool licks? And we all know the cool licks are in the blues pentatonic box. So
correct.
It makes sense to go, all right, well, excluding the blues note, there are 5 notes in the pentatonic. That means I only need to add another 2 to make it into any one of the modes.
That's correct.
So that's how I view it. So it's like, right, okay, so I'm in A minor pentatonic. If I want to make that A Dorian, I'm going to add the F sharp and the B. And that's the scale that I use most of the time. So it's the Dorian scale with the blues note as well in
Mhm.
it, the flat pipe, and
Mhm.
and that's it. You know, and that way, those two notes are the
Yep.
notes that colour the sound, that make the
That's
sound of the mode. A bit like you know, if you want to sound like Steve Vai, I don't think you'll be able to hear this, but if you want to sound like Steve Vai, you play the Lydian mode and you just play one note, and you will. So you've got E in the background. There it is.
Mhm.
So the modes have these notes that you can focus in on that will give you that sound. So that's kind of how I approach it. But most of the time, you can get away with the stuff I write. I get away with Dorian near enough all the time.
I think that there's a lot to unpack in what you just said. That because a lot of guys in here are playing around a pentatonic, and then you're going from a minor pentatonic to a Dorian setting. You're adding the 9, you're adding the raised 13th, and you have completely changed the sound of what you're doing. So I mean, there's a lot there. So guys in this chat doing what they normally do, adding 2 elements to that can open up
Totally
open up your playing. And I think the other point you just made around the Lydian as to the sound of that interval against that tonic, against that root. And what you've done there is not suggested, but clearly communicated that it's the interval is actually the distance of the note that you're emphasizing to in relation to the root. Otherwise, that particular sharp 4 doesn't really matter, right? If it's not played up against that tonic. I mean, I think that is I think what you've given us tonight is I mean, that's a lot to unpack.
It makes sense. It all makes sense. You know, this is actually the first time I think on this show that we've actually discussed stuff like this, and it's as I'm hearing you guys talk about it, because I'm not a mode guy. I really, I really don't. I can understand some things, but as you're talking about it, I'm understanding it much more.
I think, I mean, my thing with it is to get away from the modal thing, and you get these shredder guys, and then it's just all these scale licks, and it's like, is that what you do when you play modes? It's like, no, modes are just another set of 7 notes. That's all. So those notes are available in any position. So it's a bit like, knowing your chords around
correct
the area of the pentatonic. So you can just play in any position. So yeah, there's that, and like the other thing I always go on about. More to do with pentatonic, but as an approach to soloing is to solo within 3 octaves, because you get repetitive shapes. So like if you take the G, A, C, and D of A minor pentatonic, right? So we've all got licks in there, right? So all of those licks you can play there. You can use exactly the same fingering, picking, everything there and here. See what I mean? So,
yeah, sure.
Yep.
This is why I solo. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but this is why I solo up and down like that. I don't solo that way.
Yep.
You utilize the whole fretboard and not just one area of it.
But that's my approach to it, is knowing things in octave patterns, because then you've got so many licks just by knowing one lick. If you can do it in 3 or 4 places, it means you can use it anywhere at any time, and I tend to encourage my students to take licks that they always play and work them out how to play them in other octaves, because it's like, wow, I would never play that, anywhere other than here, like the Chuck Berry. You're not going to play that anywhere else, but of course you can. And
all right. So that's a lot. There's a lot there too. Do you tend to look at small bits of information? Do you tend to look at it octave to octave?
Yeah.
When you're playing and when you're composing, you tend to look at it in smaller pieces.
When I'm playing, if I'm just playing, I don't think about it at all. Because the thing with learning by ear and learning licks and then teaching how to improvise with licks, it means that you can you end up with a whole load of licks in your head that you just know in your head, and you're fairly certain you can do them in any key. So that means you can then play what's in your head. Like, we can all sing an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo, can't we?
Yes.
Without it being an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo,
Yes.
we could all sing one in the style of, right? Imagine that. That's how easy it is. So if you can play all those licks you're hearing in your head, that's what you play. You could play that solo then, couldn't you, technically, if you just use those licks that were in your head. And that's what I do.
That again, that is a lot to unpack. Being able to sing a note, play a note, sing a note, play a note, sing a note, play a note, because I can hear that in your playing. Your playing is so melodic. I mean, look, you're chock full of technique. No, and there's guys on this screen, there's guys in this chat, got a lot of technique. You've got an awful lot of melody in those compositions. And what you were saying about playing up this way, so do I hear that right, that you're playing a lot of melody on single string or two string type orientations?
So that kind of thing came from learning the scales on each string. So it was like, right, okay, well, I'm going to learn E Lydian on the B string and be able to solo with it confidently on one string. And that really, and the pentatonic, it doesn't need to be any flashy scale.
Such good advice.
Pentatonic on one string, and just practice soloing over a backing track for 10 minutes on one string. And it completely transforms how you will solo, because you're going to know how to get those sounds that are familiar to you, that you can play in your comfort box, but you'll be able to do them, or a version of them, on one string. So that means you can jump around the guitar, as much as you want. And so I would do that, and then I go, right, okay, let's do that on the D string. Let's do it, whatever. And then, right, let's combine those two. Now I can just solo with two strings and whatever. This was years ago, but that really develops it, and that kind of developed the one string thing. And then, I mean, that's in all of my own songs, but that was really developed more from doing the vocal lines, like for the Van Halen songs, where I started doing that, because you can make it so much more vocal on one string, and the tone is consistent.
And by the way, that's brilliant what you do with the Van Halen songs, doing the vocal line on the guitar. It's brilliant, absolutely incredible. You even get all of Sammy's or Dave's inflections when you play. It's incredible.
Yeah,
it really is.
For me, that's the fun of it, like, because there are so many people that can play Van Halen, and so many people that can play it so well, and it's like, well, why am I bothering to do that? I mean, obviously there's only one Eddie. No one's ever going to sound as good as him. So there's that point, and then there's the fact that you go on YouTube and there's a million other people that do it. But the thing that excited me was working out the vocal melodies, because it's like it wasn't even that no one had done it. It was just like people had played vocal lines on the guitar before, but people tend to play them quite flat, like as if it was played on a keyboard, like da da da, with no inflection. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool to actually really try and mimic it? And there's some when I did Somebody Get Me a Doctor, there's like, obviously how Roth's voice goes into that weird falsetto range. It's like a dual voice almost. And trying to emulate that, it's like, well, what's the closest I can get to that with a guitar? And it just makes you look for, different ways of doing all this stuff. And so it works much better for me anyway, soloing on one string, because you get that vocal quality to it. And you look at, like, whether should I bend up to that note, should I slide up to that note, should I dip into the note, and there'll be one that does match how it's sung. That's what I found, and it's like, it's just looking for that one, and I really don't spend long on it. I'm not that anal about it, but I just really enjoy it. You know, it's just, and obviously you're playing licks and phrases that aren't in the pentatonic box. You know, they're phrases that you won't naturally play. So you're learning the whole time. You're learning someone's vocal line. You're learning a whole new ton of, you know, licks.
Yeah. Hey, Charlie S has a question for you real quick. Charlie S says, Dave, can I ask Charlie if he uses a katana exclusively?
Are you asking yourself
no,
a question?
Yeah, that seems like I'm confused now. What a great question. I'd just like to plug Boss at
It's
this
amazing.
Point. That was amazing, and my hands didn't move.
That's how you get the real answers. You ask yourself your own questions.
So I use the Boss Katana on some of them, and on others I don't. So basically, it depends how bothered I can be to set stuff up. So my setup at home is a Mac Logic Pro, my Boss drum machine that I've had for like 15 years, and that's the DR880, and that has a 5150 amp built into it. So that's like my crunch. So I have the gain on, like, I think it's out of 100, it's 27, and I have the EQ set how I have it, but it sounds incredibly thin, and it can sound a bit kind of processed, but I mean it's worked. But then I got the overdrive pedal and the 5150 overdrive pedal, and I put that on top of it, and it thickens it up, gives it more bottom end, and it gives it that real brown sound. So I'll use that. But then when the Katana 2 came out, they sent me that to make a video for, and they wanted me to set up my own artist settings, the Liquid Charlie tone zone. It wasn't called that, I just made that up. Liquid tones, that's what it was called. It's a bit like Liquid Lockdown, Liquid iPhone, it's all the same. And so I had, I found a sound that was exactly my sound, because I actually went in and tweaked it, because I'm really not a gear person at all, and I'm happy really plugging into a lot of things. I just, as long as I can get something close, I'll play all day. I don't really care. But anyway, I managed to match my normal tone. Just it's slightly fuller, and it's got the emulated speaker out, so I'll use that to record in, record out of and into Logic. So sometimes I do the whole thing with the Katana. Sometimes I do just the rhythm guitar or whatever. I just mix it up, because sometimes you do want that difference between. But quite a lot of the time I'm very lazy, and I just use what's on my desk, and that's what you hear. And I don't change guitar sounds, I don't change anything. It's just the same sound. And like a lot of people have asked, I say a few people have asked, oh, what did you do to your sound to do that? How did you get that sound? And like with the Randy Rhoads thing, or when I do the balance thing, or I do early Van Halen, which I try to avoid because I can't really play it. People think I've changed my sound to do it, and the only time I've changed it is for balance. Before recently, I just put a chorus on it. That was it. But otherwise, the sound, the settings stay exactly the same the whole time. I've never fiddled with them. Just so everyone knows. Same with the Boss Katana. That's it. I really don't tone chase at all. I actually have very little interest in doing that. I just love playing. So as long as it sounds like that, I'm happy.
It's like set and forget, right?
Yeah, so I'm really not one of those guys that, I need to get this amazing clean sound. I need to get this. No, I don't care. I just sound like this. That's what I want to sound like. There we go. Job done. Maybe a bit of chorus. Yeah, that's where it ends. That's my tone chasing.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
If it already sounds great,
Yeah, you're very
just leave it, and then you can add stuff on top of it. And within Logic, there's all sorts of magic, all sorts of magic you can do in there.
I do quite a bit of not quite a bit. I'll do like post processing. So
don't give away your secrets.
I'm not going to give them all away, but I add reverb and I add delay on Logic. So I'll record in dry, just the distorted sound. that's it really. And then, yeah, there's the magical effect that will give you the detuned sound as well. But I'm not going to give that away because it's taken me a long time to work out what it was.
Is that your tone, Charlie? So when you think of guitar tone and you can only choose one, it can change tomorrow, but for the sake of Thursday night, if you can only choose one tone, it's the balance tone, isn't it? It's the balance tone?
That's the one, yeah.
What's yours, Johnny? If you can only choose one tone on Thursday night, which guitar tone do you choose?
I'm happy with just an acoustic guitar on the couch. You know, brand new strings though. That's the one thing. Yeah. Nothing beats that.
That's cool.
You know,
that's really cool.
That was an unexpected answer.
Well, look, I've got a keyboard controller on my guitar stand there. I mean, who does that?
Oh. Very easy.
What's yours, Dave? What's your one guitar tone on Thursday night?
It's going to be the Eric Clapton tone on the record Journeyman. It's going to be a Strat through a Soldano.
Nice.
That is so sweet.
What about yours, Ty?
All right, I'm going different direction than all y'all. All right, and completely self-indulgent. My favorite guitar tone, without a doubt. Look, my favorite guitar tone, without a doubt. Whitesnake 87, John Sykes. That tone changed my entire headspace about what a guitar could possibly sound like. I've chased all the gear. I've bought all the gear. I've done it all. I sound nothing like John Sykes. I would, but that record was the first record that I got that said, "Oh my God, rock guitar can sound like this," and it killed me. Just killed me. The Blue Murder record next. Just killed me.
Wait, I gotta stop you for a second, Ty. First of all, have you guys seen the 2 or 3 videos that Ty's put out on Facebook in the last 2 weeks?
Amazing.
He is ridiculous guitar player.
Yeah.
So for him to say, "I don't sound anything like John Sykes," you're full of crap.
Oh my God.
I just gotta call a spade a spade. You are full of crap. You've done a Whitesnake style and you've done a Satriani style, and you sound like both guitar players when you do it. So don't give me any of that crap.
You're very nice. You're very kind. Thank you. Thank you. But my tone is my favorite Van Halen tone, and this is where I will get a little flamed for. My favorite Van Halen tone is Van Halen 2. I don't know, for whatever reason, that's my tone. But my favorite record is Fair Warning. But I wish I could sound like it on VH2 when I'm playing that style of music. But yeah, the '87 record, and who knows how many guitar parts are on that record? I don't even know. But,
I mean, just that is incredible, and we're still at night. Come on, that one rhythm guitar underneath that solo is insane.
So good. All right, so you're holding something new. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, we can. We can talk about this. This is my 1963 ES335. Custom shop, not an old one. It's not an old one, but I've played some old ones, and this one feels just like an old one. It's pretty incredible. And I'm playing through a little tweed amp. It's called the Blues Senior, made by Rock and Roll Amps. It's 112. I want to say it's 30 watts, but it has a half power switch with it has a bright switch, bright, normal, and half bright. And when you have it in the half bright, when you're using a Stratocaster, it is like heaven on earth. It's not too bright. It's not too like this. It sounds just right.
It's beautiful, Dave.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
mean,
The pickups in this are very low output. It just you hear the sound of the wood when you play this guitar.
it's gorgeous.
You mean the thud in the back?
That's not my thud. That's not me.
No, I meant the. That's what I meant.
Oh, that.
The guitar gets closer to the screen all of a sudden.
Welcome to the Johnny Bean Show, everybody.
I love the sound of a 335. It's so big, bright, resonant. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Such an amazing sounding guitar.
And I'm not using a lot of gain. You know, the most gain I'm using is this. Not a lot of gain at all. Very, very low low output. That's an OCD pedal, but with the gain turned down all the way, and I have a Love Chula pedal that I use for very slight rhythm overdrive.
Mm-hmm. My friend Dale is in the chat, and he says because you don't have John's hands, you can't sound like Sykes, and he's right. Dale and I've played a lot together over the years. He's in a great band. They write some great songs, and he and I've played together before. But you're right. I don't have the magic, man. I don't have the magic he does.
Ty, really quick, I think your microphone is popping a little bit. I think from it touching, something is up.
My mic's here.
Okay, something is. Hang on one second.
I know what it is. That's the sound of a phone.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, is it my phone?
Is it your phone? Hang on, I'm gonna. No, it's not Charlie. That's really weird. Anyway,
it's Ned. It's Ned.
Yeah, damn cat.
NEZ SEZ.
Ned's doll says.
NEZ SEZ.
Let's see what's going on in the chat real quick. Let's see. Where do we start? Where do we end here? Let's say hello to Max F. He says, "Awesome show tonight. This is great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it." WM Errol DeBose. I'm sorry. U.S. Air Force retired. Says I'd include John Sykes with Blue Murder, and that is John Sykes sound. I agree. Amanda Coombs is here. Hello, Amanda. Show them Fonzies, she says. Show them thumbs up. The Raz is here.
Yeah,
Ron John
who keeps
is here.
typing? Who keeps typing?
Yeah, I don't know. Tessie Switch is here. Hey, Tessie. 7 over 8 is here. Hello. My mom, Beverly Cooper Torres, is here. My mom. And I'll say hello to more people as they show up. So 50 people here in the chat right now.
Amazing.
And thank you very much. So let's get into some of the guitars, shall we?
Yeah.
Show us your favorite. And then I'm going to ask you the same question I ask everyone on every one of these shows is what's your favorite guitar? What's your best guitar? And are they one and the same?
Oh, that's going to be really difficult to answer. My favorite at the moment is my Wolfgang Special made in China 2011. Just sounds amazing. I love it. It's incredible. The neck is really nice, really playable, and the frets are great. And so that's the one that I'm pretty much my go-to now. That I'll record most things with this guitar. Yeah, so that's number one. I don't know what else to say about that one, but I love it.
That's all you have to say.
That is it. Yeah, that's the end of that one. Not seeing any more of that one. And then I've got the Spinal Tap, just in case no one got it. But and then the White Wolfgang. I'm avoiding the question. Have you noticed? The one I've got a White Wolfgang Special as well, and this one has been modified. It's got the red detuner on it, and all the FU tone bits and bobs, which is awesome. And this thing plays and sounds great too. It really, like, the harmonics really pop out. Luckily, I got one then as well. That was really useful.
Yeah, you're lucky you got that on the first try.
That would have looked really duff had I gone. So this one, I love this guitar. So I got this one from Island Music, which is run by a guy called Keith Grasso, which is hard to say when you're British because we would say Grasso. But anyway, yeah, and it's awesome. I love it. And the neck got nice and dirty very early on, so that's always a good sign. So in terms of, well, I guess that's my favorite. And what was the other question? What's my favorite?
Which is your favorite and which is your best? And are they one and the same? And I suppose they, well,
you just showed two guitars.
Yeah.
But they're both they're both Wolfgangs.
Wolfgangs.
So they are the same.
I mean, all of them are set up to play the same, and nearly all of them are upgraded with FU tone. So, you know, they all have that extra sustain and whatever. So I've made them kind of as close to the same guitar as I possibly can. I don't know. It's hard to say, really. I really don't have. Don't know what I would call my best guitar. All of the guitars I have, I wouldn't sell. I love them all. So
awesome.
I was saying to Dave earlier actually that I really enjoy cheaper guitars. Like I've got those couple of OLPs and Sterling AX40, and you know, doing them up with the help of Adam and all of that stuff. You know, getting them upgraded. It's so much fun turning something like that into a good guitar. And I'll sand down the back of the neck and I'll sand down the fretboard and all of that stuff. And I just really enjoy that. And then making it a playable and great guitar. I mean, with those guitars, they are really good anyway. So they don't take a lot. But yeah, I get much more of a kick out of doing that to a cheap guitar than getting £1,000 plus guitar and going, oh yeah, great, it's expensive. I'm really worried about damaging this. Brilliant. You know, so I'm more drawn to cheap guitars, to be honest.
Well, you know, the price or not, you make them sound amazing, and that's just ridiculous. You know, it's everything you play sounds incredible.
Sure does.
Ah, thank you. But yeah, I don't know why that is, but just practice, I guess.
Rob L asks, "Is your OLP a Floyd Rose Trem from factory? Is it a factory Floyd on that, or did you put that on?"
The bridge. All of them have got different bridges on, and the Sterling as well. I mean, so the black OLP has got an EVH USA bridge on it, and the relic looking one that I did butchered, that's got like a Floyd Rose special, which is terrible.
They are horrible, aren't they? The Floyd Rose specials are just junk.
I changed the saddles because the saddle's always the first thing to go, aren't they? You can no longer tighten the screw; it just keeps turning. So anyway, I changed them for some chrome ones because you can't buy the gunmetal style ones, it seems. So that looks kind of cool, and I did it over with some sandpaper to make it look crap. And then the Sterling AX40, I put an FU2, the FU tone bridge on it. Obviously that is fantastic. So
yeah, those are great bridges.
Of the three, the blue one is my favorite, and also I absolutely love the way that thing looks. Like, because I know it's a veneer top, but I was really lucky with that one. It's gorgeous. So, and that was I was actually going for the job I now have. Not that I'm working at the moment, but I got a job at a school. And the day of the interview, I think it was, I went up and I thought, I'll go to the guitar shop afterwards. And I went in and there it was. I was like, oh, second hand. So, and it was all faded like it is. Because when they came out, they were that kind of royal blue, weren't they? They were a deeper kind of blue. But this had faded and it just looked amazing. So that was it. That had to be bought. and then upgraded. So yeah, that's what I do with them. But the pickups are, I think in the Relic-y one, that's got a Damasio Super Distortion in it, but I didn't buy that. I bought it secondhand, and it came with that, so that was a bit of a score. But it was actually wired up wrong, and it sounded really thin. You know when you wire a pickup wrong and you get this kind of like a really thin strap tone out of a humbucker. Yeah, it was like that. So I had to get that redone. But yeah, that's it. They're all the mods on that, and just sanding them down and all that stuff. I do that on all of them, so they're all just bare wood pretty much. Well, linseed oil as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So show us the Traveler guitar, and let's talk about that a little bit.
This is cool. So I used to have, I've still got an Ibanez RG, but I always wanted one of those 80s ones, the yellow. It was always yellow. I was never into the green and the pink so much. And then Adam had these. He got these in, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. Because I was thinking, well, the reason I play Wolfgang so much on video and the Music Man style is because I'm tiny, so I look ridiculous with a Strat or a Les Paul or an Ibanez. I look like a child playing them. Arguably, I still look like a child playing a Wolfgang, but more so with a Strat with a massive headstock and a Les Paul with a massive. So it just looks ridiculous. So anyway, seeing this, it was like, this is perfect because it's tiny, and it's the color that I love, and it's the overall style of it. So so it's all been upgraded, as you can see, and I actually suggested to Adam putting the detuner on it because he hadn't done that on his one at the time. So we got the detuner on there, which looks really cool. And sorry, I can't use my phone properly. And I realised that I've been looking at the screen, which makes it look like I'm looking off camera the whole time. Sorry about that. But so we've got all the business in there, and the headstock isn't too bad to look at.
No, I think that's a pretty cool headstock. Yeah,
quite tasteful, I think, and that's generally where these things can kind of go wrong, isn't it? But I think that's actually really cool. And Adam strung it with the ball ends at the end, as you do.
Sweet. Sweet.
That's it. But it's really playable, and having the 24th fret is great. I'd forgotten how much I enjoy that, and that's why I made use of it in the Traveller video. I did like that. You can't hear that, but anyway, that
sure you can.
Up there using that 24th fret, because I thought it's got to be in there, hasn't it, or at least do some tapping up there or something. But the thing I love the most about it, as I always love with Ibanez, is that position, the fourth position, where it splits these two, splits this one and this one. That sparkle. So I use this now for recording quite a bit, but for that sound. So if I have like because like I said to you, I only use the one tone, and I'll just roll off the volume for anything cleaner. So I'll do that still, but now I'll double whatever that part is with this on that setting, and then I'll have that under the mix, and I'll have the delay louder than the actual dry signal of it, so that the stereo delay is giving that sparkle to my Wolfgang sound. So I get that Ibanez-y sparkle, but it sounds like it's just my guitar, because you're only really hearing the delay of it, which is quite fun. Don't ask me how I came up with that. I have no idea.
That's a really cool technique.
Yeah,
I like that.
And it's really cool that you could use a Traveler guitar as like a main guitar, and you could use it for.
Oh, definitely.
You can gig with that thing. You can record with it, and it's wonderful. And you can put it in your back pocket.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe it when it turned up, and how small the case is. It's like a violin case, because I'd seen the pictures of it, and I was like, oh, it's going to be of a fair size. But then it turns up in the gig bag, and it's tiny. It's like it's incredible. Yep. So, but yeah, it's really playable. The neck is like it's not like a wizard. It's rounder than a wizard neck. it's actually more similar.
Well, it feels like a gem neck. I've played that guitar,
Oh, really?
and I have 3 gems. Gems are slightly larger than a wizard neck,
Larger.
so it feels like that. Yeah.
Well, that's great then. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've got the RG. I've got like a 550. Well, it's a bastardized Ibanez actually, but it's meant to be a 550. Yeah, and it's not quite like this, but I love it. It's really comfortable, and of course, like the access to here is ridiculous. Like it's just no problem at all. So like for practicing those sort of licks up there, it's just effortless. And then you go and play them on another guitar and you can't do it, but that doesn't matter. So at least you put in the hour.
That's it.
So
it's cool.
So yeah, that's that one.
And
that one.
And now the Storm Shadow.
Yeah, I'll get that. I'm just hoping that doesn't fall over. So the Storm Shadow is a company in the UK. I think they're in Sheffield, and he reached out to me saying, this was a few years ago, that he had this body lying around and would I like to kind of build it up as I would like it. And he said that the finish is exactly the same as the Jack Butler. Obviously, I don't need to explain who that is. Finish. So it's got that red sparkle. I don't know. Can you see?
Beautiful.
That?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's like a really deep candy apple red.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I was like, oh wow, okay. So I got a bird's eye. I'm not sure which way round it is. Sorry, but it's AAA, and is it 5A? So
yeah.
Which way round does that go? Where does the AAA?
Well, 5A is the most you can get.
Right. That must be the fretboard then.
Mm-hmm.
So the fretboard is 5A.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. Holy crap.
And then the back of the neck, well, the neck is AAA.
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous. Even the headstock is really cool. So, yeah, so I had that neck and jumbo frets. And then it's an EVH humbucker in there, because why change it?
Sweet.
And then a DiMarzio hot rail, I think.
Sweet.
I can't actually remember. DiMarzio. Seymour Duncan hot rail.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool, actually. It sounds great. And it's push-pull as well. So I've got that on a EVH humbucker, which is really useful. And it's got this really cool sound in the middle position. It kind of sounds out of phase, but it's really usable and sounds awesome. Yeah, that's that. And then it's got the Spurs or locking tuners. Oh shit! Are they no? They're not locking ones. That would be a complete waste of time on a guitar like this.
Not anymore.
Yeah, no, doesn't have a body anymore, but that doesn't matter.
Nice ding.
Yeah, no, it's fine. The table's got a cloth on it. It'll be all right. The table. So, and then it's got a FU2. No offense. Bridge there with the detuner, and this really oversized cutout for it, which
I actually
really
dig
cool.
that. I dig that.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
Yeah, it makes it really unique. I really like it. And then the usual stuff in the back, trem stopper as well. It can float, but obviously for the detuner it needs to be locked down. No pun intended. So yeah, that's it. But it's awesome. And to be honest, I don't use it enough, and I don't know why, because I love it. But I try and the good thing about doing these videos, like where I'm playing my Black Wolfgang all the time, is that because I do videos, I've got to try and make them slightly different. And obviously I'm limited in terms of backdrop at the moment because I can't really go out. I'll probably get arrested for making a music. I don't think this is really that necessary at the moment. So, I have to make all my videos at home. So trying to make them look different is not very easy. Mm-hmm. And so mixing up the guitars really helps. So on that one today, or whenever I put it out, because it is 2:10 in the morning here, by the way.
Shh, then we'll be quiet.
No, they're fine. Yeah, that one, it was like, well, why don't I use the Wolfgang Standard and the PV Wolfgang, which were the two first Wolfgangs I got. So I got the Wolfgang, the PV Wolfgang in 2001, and then Jenny, my girlfriend, bought me the new Wolfgang Standard at the time. Anyway, when it was new, she got me that like 5 or 6 years ago. So I thought it'd be cool to have the two first ones. So yeah, they're both really special, but they also look really great on camera. So because the tops look awesome. They're both just veneer tops, but they do look pretty special, I think. So
yeah, I don't really think that when people make a big deal about veneer tops not sounding as good or not, not. I don't believe that at all. I mean, I really believe that a guitar sounds good in a good set of hands. It doesn't matter if it has a thick piece of maple on it or a thin veneer. That's all. This 335 is a very thin veneer of maple on the top and on the bottom. So I mean, those guitars sound great. So whether people, it's got a thin veneer, who cares? It sounds great.
Yeah, they both sound really good, and they both look really good. So I think I was very lucky with those finishes, because some of them, they can kind of look a bit photo flame.
Yeah.
Kind of, which is like, yeah, I was lucky with that, and the Sterling AX40. That one's got a lovely.
Yeah, it's a pretty guitar. That's a really good looking guitar.
I mean, it looks like the real thing as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, I have modded it to make it look that way. But I love it. So I don't know what the question was now, but that probably didn't answer it.
That's okay. Keep going. No, Ty, what else? What do you got? Come on.
I have a guitar, and I pulled it out in honor of Charlie being with us tonight. The thing I love about Charlie, or one of the many things I love about Charlie, is that he is so committed to the Wolfgang. It's man, I mean, watching you play a Wolfgang makes people want to buy a Wolfgang. Honest, and I'm going to share this because this is this guitar has a really cool story. So this is a very early serial 2009 EVH Wolfgang. And I looked for one for a long time, and Dave, you cool if I tell this story?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So I wanted one of these. Dave had worked on a couple of these guitars for me in the past. And I told him, I said, I'd love to have like a quilt top first year EVH. And he was like, all right, I'll keep my eyes open. And I was at one of my children's soccer games. I'll never forget this. It was a Saturday afternoon. Beautiful, beautiful day. I'm watching my kid play soccer, and I pull my cell phone out. Nestor. And
you're like, why won't that guy leave me alone?
He probably does say that because I text that guy every day.
Anyway,
like, what's with the shirtless selfies, please?
So Johnny, you'll love this. He sent me a text and he was like, "It is urgent. You can call me right back." And I called him back and he said, I'm about to take a picture of something for you. Tell me if you like this.
Uh-oh.
And
and then I did this. Hang on a second. I did this. Just as I took my zipper down. No, I'm just kidding. Oh wow, way to screw up a NEZ SEZ show. All right.
Right in the middle of a Guitar Center. All right, so Dave's in a Guitar Center near where he is. I don't remember what the name of the town is, Dave, but he sent me a picture of this, and he was like, "Hey, it needs some work. Do you like it? Do you want it?" It's a very, very early serial, 2009. All right, so there was a video that Ed published, Johnny. You'll know this. And he said, "Look, I have made the best guitar, so you don't have to mod anything, and all of my knowledge rests in this guitar." right? And this is he was holding a guitar very similar to this. So, and look, if it's good enough for Edward, it's good enough for all of us, right? So Dave sent the photo, and I was like, yeah, I want the guitar, and it was hanging used in a Guitar Center that was relatively near you, right, Dave? And
the Carl Place, Long Island store.
And so I bought the guitar over the phone, and I had to go through an act of Congress to allow Dave just to take it out of the store for me. But long story short, Dave took it home, and he was like, look, it's got a lot of problems. And he contacted Adam at FU Tone, and there were some things that happened in here. He put a new Floyd on it for me. He had to rewire the whole thing. None of it worked, which was astonishing. And then the neck pickup, Johnny, you'll appreciate this, had been flipped. So it doesn't...
yeah, I can see it. It's the wrong
way. Yeah,
way.
You see that? Yeah. So it sounded a little bit different, but when Dave rewired it, and put the brass block in here from FU Tone and the new Floyd and everything, he was like, I really don't mind this, and you have some other guitars that you should just try it like this, and if you don't like it, flip it back. And then Dave had to replace the nut too, so there was a lot of TLC that went into it.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent it down to me, and it sounded great. I loved it. And this neck pickup is kind of, it's different. It is different for a Wolfie. And, but great guitar. Love this guitar. And the fact that I looked for it for a long time, and then Dave found it for me. And then was so, it came, I live in a very humid climate, and, necks on my guitars move all the time. And Dave is not unaccustomed to hearing me say things like, which way do I turn this wrench? This guitar has never
I thought you were going to
moved.
say a bad word.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. So
it used to be saying,
never moved. These graphite enforced rods that are in here, they work like they're designed to work. Mm-hmm. And this guitar really is set up perfectly. It really, really is set up perfectly. I love this guitar. Dave's got one like it. His top is better than mine.
Look at that. That's really nice.
That's
you can really
cool, right?
You can really see it when you're turning it around. You can really.
Yeah.
So
mine is here.
Cool top. That's really cool top.
No, that's not it. It's over there.
Different. It's great. I don't play it as well as Charlie plays his, but
nobody does.
But nobody does. But it plays great. It sounds great, and I'm really happy I have it. And the fact that it found me,
mm-hmm.
I really appreciate. And I'm going to go ahead and plug you, Dave. And I know you don't like it when I do this, but the way Dave can set up a guitar,
Charlie, come on.
Yeah, right. But the way Dave can set up a guitar, it really changes the playing experience of it. And I am more into the playing experience of the instrument than I am the actual instrument. And I want the instrument to work for me. I just want it to be there so that it doesn't inhibit anything that I'm trying to get out or express. And Dave has set up a lot of my instruments, and this one is one of the ones that just never. The Wolfgangs in particular, and I really believe it's the rods. They never move. They're always there. I can pull that guitar out, and any of the ones, I can pull them out, and they always work.
I've seen those things, man. They take a huge pile of them. It's not just one or two. They have like a whole pile of those that are in there. You know?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, things not moving. Things not moving, man.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I love it. I love it, and it's well. It is as it's designed. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So everyone in the chat, real quick, I want to apologize for the clicking noise that's going on in this. We'll get it fixed for the next show. There's nothing we can do about it. No, I don't think so. I think it's the microphone on Ty's earbuds just moving around. I think that's what it is, but we'll fix it. Sorry for the problems.
Well, and I apologize as well. I'm not using the microphone on my earbuds. I'm actually using a hardwired mic.
Mm-hmm. Which a cool mic, by the way.
Thanks, man.
Like the world. What is that?
It's a Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm using an external. I'm not using this small mic. I have actually been muted, and the noise has continued. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Oh,
so.
You know what? I apologize. It's not you. It's Charlie.
Is it?
It's not. Yep. Because I just muted Charlie.
You don't blame the guest. That's the last thing you want to do.
It's okay though. It's all right.
Welcome.
I was hoping to blame myself, but it wasn't me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Welcome to the show. But this is.
It could. There we go. That's better.
Don't do that.
I've always wanted to do that to him because he's done it to me. That's all.
Wait till tomorrow, man.
Oh, I know. I won't even be invited on. I know.
Maybe because this is close to a laptop.
It's all good.
Let's reposition it. How's that? Oh, you got my tissues in the way.
Oh Lord.
Oh God, what's this? What's that? Oh, it's my purse.
I think it's better.
The noise stopped. I know what it was.
Is there a hamster on a computer?
I'm not going to tell everyone, but I know it. Oh no, it's still going.
It's still going, but it's okay.
Sorry.
John Mancuda says, well, the good news is it'll definitely be fixed by next week. Oh, that's so funny. Anyway, now that we've totally stopped the show, or I've totally stopped the show, I apologize, everybody. So where do we go from there? Johnny, you want to say anything?
Thank you, everybody, for watching this. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with that annoying clicking sound the entire time. I'm making popcorn, and I'm typing emails.
It's all good. It's all good. Every once in a while there's a little hiccup. It happens. Nothing you can do about it. So let's see if there's any questions in that. Anyone in the chat have any questions for Charlie?
Yeah, what's that sound? Oh wait, I gotta type it.
What happens if I mute myself? Then nothing. Well,
the sound goes away, but then you go away.
Oh, it's all right.
It's all right.
I don't even know how to
actually,
do that anyway.
Charlie, if it is you, I can tell you how to get rid of that sound. If you have earbuds, if you're on your phone, plug the earbuds in with the mic and use that mic, and the sound will go away. Yeah.
And Music Therapy Laz says it's hilarious, and you guys are rolling with it like pros, like the pros that you are. Johnny Bean says, "What's that sound?"
I'm not a pro. I'm a con.
You are a con.
Should I go and get some headphones then? Should we try that?
Yeah, let's try it.
Have a microphone on them.
Let's try it.
They'll just be headphones. See you later.
Poor guy.
Hey, Caleb.
Nerd Haley. Anyway. So great guitar, Ty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks, man.
That's awesome. I've actually been to where you were talking about that video.
Yeah.
Where they're all sitting around the table.
Yeah.
They created that Fender. They created that. That room actually doesn't really look like that. It's actually a room where they actually work on the guitars. But I've been to that actual table. I've seen that.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that I'm a pretty hard sell, Johnny, and that video is pretty convincing. You know, he makes you. I mean, he makes you want to grab one, right? I mean, it's a great piece of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can still hear it.
You can? I don't hear it over here. Yeah, I don't hear it here. We're good.
Oh,
can you hear us?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I don't hear it at all now.
Can you guys see me?
We can see you. All right, so Brian the sound guy wants to see this one more time. Here it is. Early Serial 2009 Wolfgang. Great guitar. I didn't find this guitar. Dave found this guitar for me, and made it play beautifully with the help of Floyd Rose and Adam Reaver. And it's amazing. Amazing.
That's not really two words you want to say in the same sentence, but it is the truth.
Okay, well, I'm
Adam's
sorry.
like, oh my God, don't say that with my name. No.
I apologize. I'm sorry, Adam. I apologize for any. I apologize.
It's not my
for the
channel. Don't apologize for anything.
I apologize for the politics. So yeah, I love the guitar. Great guitar. It's been on gigs that you wouldn't expect it to have been on.
What kind of gigs have you played on that?
I've played country gigs on that guitar, and it's a great guitar. It's a great guitar for that format, and it looks cool. It looks cool on stage. Yeah, it's a great guitar. I mean, it's a great sounding guitar. Very balanced. Very balanced. Caleb Rappaport asked what the serial is on that. I don't want to give it out exactly, Caleb, but it's under 100.
In case Dave stole it.
No, I didn't. I don't steal anything. I'm not a thief. Adam from FU Tone says, "Wait, what? I walked out and now I'm back. It's good. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, Adam makes great stuff. I had a really interesting guitar a couple of years ago, and I sent Adam a couple of emails, and he responded with how to make that a better guitar, and he did. He made it a better guitar so that I could sell it and buy another great guitar.
Oh Lord.
He was extremely, extremely helpful.
That's great. Yeah, Adam's the best. He rocks. So Charlie, let's see. So you have like cabinets and other, like you have a Laney head at your house. Do you ever use that stuff? Like the big 412 cabinets that you have?
Yeah, I'm in a covers band, so called Liquid Jacket. That was pre-Liquid Charlie, and I used the Laney for that. The Laney head. It's a AOR series. I think that's what they're called, isn't it? Laney AOR series.
Is that an early Laney before Hoshino bought the company? Before Ibanez bought the company?
It's 89.
Yeah,
so
those are good ones. Mm-hmm.
It's the same one that's on I think it's a Rat album, and it's the one that Nuno used. Not the same. It's the same model that Nuno used on the first Extreme album. It's that one. So I use that, and then the two cabs are Laney 4x12s, and I used to use them as a stack. But then obviously just doing stuff here, I just used the one cab. So I decided I'd take the grill off it and paint it white and leave the speakers black. So that's what that one's all about.
Like 1984.
Exactly that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just minus the black strip along the middle. But
now, do you have the outline of your speakers red? because that's on Eddie's. They were red on the outline
Oh,
of the
no.
speakers. Yeah, got to paint them
No, I
red.
didn't do that. But the paint I used, and not only did I use it for some skirting board, I also used it for my bass, which I painted white with a roller, and the Relic OLP, I used it for that, and then I used it for the cabinet as well. So everything you see that's white, other than the proper stuff, is using the same pot of paint that I've got lying around.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
But
It looks great on video.
It's really striking. Yeah, that's the thing. It looks cool, and then with the katana sat on top of it, it looks awesome. So sets it all off, because that's a katana 2x12 cab.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got the 100-watt head, and I've also got the katana artist, which is like the 100-watt combo.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I did have the katana too, which was really cool, but I only had it for the time. Well, they sent me a couple actually, but I only had it for the time really I was making that video, because they needed them back because they were in short supply at that particular point. But they were really cool because where the katana has like, it's either 5 or 6 different amp types on it.
Mm-hmm.
It had this variation mode button, and so you press that and it will give you, so where you've got the brown sound, which we all know what that is, where you've got that, it would have like the PV 5150, and then you hit it and it gives you more of the EVH model one, so they've gone for that variation in tone. So just at the press of a button, you've actually got, I think it's 10 amps you end up with. So it's really cool.
That is very cool.
But and if anyone's interested, you can download my own personal settings at Boss Tone Central.
Very cool. Well, anyone who wouldn't want to download them don't have a good set of ears, because your tone is fantastic.
Amazing.
Well, I've never really understood that, but it's just how it sounds. But I'm glad everyone thinks it sounds good. But occasionally I get the odd comment where people talk about my tone in a bad way, but generally it's kind of positive. But I think one of the things with those sort of modeling amps is they can have that digital kind of quality, and how that comes across in a mix. If you're layering up guitars, you can get a lot of that high end frequency, like that digital high end, which is, when people say about, what are they called, solid state amps, they don't sound right, blah blah blah, all that. It's that, for me, you can, at high volume or whatever, or if you're really layering up, you can get that slightly high end E frequency. But otherwise, I mean, they sound amazing to me. But so I just take that, like when I do a video, and sometimes I'll triple track a rhythm part to give it a bit of, real fatness. I will EQ that all 3 of them with that cut off, just that top end, just so it doesn't have that harshness that it can sometimes have. But no, I think the katanas sound amazing, to be honest. And the thing, like, for the money, it's ridiculous what you actually get. And like the thing I thought was really cool, the 50-watt combo, because a few of my students have bought them. Now, I have students that actually come here, or they used to back in the day when you could do things like that. And they bought the 50-watt katana combo, and it actually has a tilt back thing, so you can angle it back.
Oh, cool.
It's all built in. So yeah, and then the emulated speaker out, and it has this setting like line out air or air feel or something like that. So it can give you, it tries to recreate the sound of an amp pushing air,
That's amazing, because that's the one thing that I don't like about modeling amps and solid state stuff, is that you don't feel it hitting you in the back as hard as a tube amp. And for it to have that, if it works, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it sounds really good. I mean, it works in the mix, and I've not used it. I used the katana when I played at the NAMM show. I think Johnny was there, weren't you?
I was there, man.
2018.
That was
I played.
awesome.
And thank you. And I used the Katana there, and they actually had it really loud, didn't they? I thought it was quite like good volume anyway, and yeah, it sounded really cool. Like I was really disappointed with my own personal performance, but that's fine. We get over that. But like, it sounded good, you know. So yeah, and the other sound I'm using, obviously with the drum machine, that's also Boss. So I'm thoroughly Boss all the way. So, well, other than when I use the Laney, then obviously I'm doing that. But yeah,
Your tone is Boss.
Yeah,
it is. It's the Boss of tones.
Really is.
But
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of Boss pedals that I absolutely love. All the Waza stuff is just, it's amazing stuff. Like especially the tremolo, the delay pedal. There's a lot of great stuff that I really like.
I have Boss pedals that I have Boss pedals from the 80s that still work well, sound great, and they've held up. I mean, it works. The gear works.
yeah, it's great.
Joe Hervey 84 says I use active pickups. It's kind of an uphill battle. Hey man, if you like active pickups, don't apologize. Use them, embrace them. I don't mind active pickups whatsoever. I like them. Yeah, I like them.
I mean, they have their place. You know, this is my personal opinion. I'm not a big EMG fan. I've stated it many times in the past, but they do have their place. If you want a crystal clean sound, EMG is the way to go. They sound great. You know, they are so crystalline clean, almost glass-like, and there's really not a better sound.
I mean, they're great.
Yeah,
I mean, they're great. And look, all of us that were playing guitar in the 80s and 90s, we all went through the EMG things. I've gone through the EMG things of recent. I mean, they sound, they're great sounding pickups. It's really up to the player to decide how they're going to use. I mean, the pickups are a tool, right? It's really up to the player to decide how they're going to use it.
No, actually, the player is the tool.
Well, sometimes.
I'm just kidding.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers.
Music Therapy Laz asks, Dave, have you played the retroactive EMGs? No, I haven't. And I should probably try them. At least in one guitar, I should probably put them in there. Have you tried them, Ty? Have any of you guys tried them?
I have not.
What, the new ones?
They're retroactive. I believe they're passive. I could be wrong.
I've never played any passive EMGs.
I had them. I used to have the Zakk Wylde Epiphone, and that had the passive EMGs in it. Mm-hmm. But I have no recollection of how that sounded.
I have one of those Music Yo Steinberger Spirit guitars, and that has the EMG. They're called Selects, right?
Oh, that's
Selects.
Yeah.
So they're passive, and I always thought they sounded great through the 5150 amp, the PV.
Mm-hmm.
Really, yeah.
So Music Therapy Lad says they're not passive, they're active. So that shows you I don't really know much about EMG pickups, and I apologize. Randall says he does have the retro EMGs, and it is active. Yeah, I will say I've never had a bad experience with EMG pickups ever.
Sound great.
Yeah, the EMG pickups that I've always used, wait, what am I trying to say? The EMGs that I have, they're active, they're not passive.
Nice.
The ones that I have, the EMGs, they're not passive, they're active.
Well, the bad experience, the reason I don't like EMGs, and it's
passive.
It's user error.
I know what you're going to say.
Yes. The batteries ran out on a gig, and all it was and it was nasty. It was bad. So from then on, I couldn't blame myself for not changing a battery. So I just decided not to use those pickups anymore.
The other common complaint I hear about the pickups, the active EMGs, is that they homogenize every guitar. that they make every guitar sound the same.
Vanilla.
That they make that you hear the sound of the pickup, you don't hear the sound of the wood. I've never experienced that. I've always thought they sounded. Look, if you like the sound of the pickup, you like the sound of the pickup. Don't apologize for it. Embrace it. If that is going to help you be expressive moving forward, embrace it. I've never heard an EMG pickup sound bad, and I've done the 81, 85 Zach Wild thing. I've also I'm a huge Lukather fan. I've done the 85 SASA setup. Always been great. And I've done the Gilmore pickguard. I mean, that sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. I've never had a bad experience with those pickups whatsoever. I think they sound great.
One other complaint that I have about them is, to me, and this is just to me in my ears, no matter what amp you put it in with EMGs in it, it sounds the same. It doesn't really give you the color of the amplifier. Like, and I mean, that's all considering if you have the same, if you're using, if you're using the same type of gain. Of course, if you're using a different channel or using a clean versus a dirty, of course it's going to sound different. But if you're trying to achieve the same sound or a similar sound, it's going to, why change amps? Because to me, it sounds like the same in any amp with EMGs. Now, to some people, that may be a good thing because you want to be consistent. You want to sound consistent. But if you're trying to get slightly different sounds out of different amps with EMGs, it's very hard to do that. Do you disagree with me, Ty?
I do not. I don't disagree with you, but because I don't have any point of reference. I mean, all I know is I've tried them, and I liked them, and I don't have the same experiences that I've read that others have. Damp Taco Lover, interesting name. Motor City pickups are the best. I've got some experience with Motor City pickups, and I think you are absolutely right. I think they're amazing, or at least the two that I have loaded into a dual humbucker guitar. They sound pretty special. I love those. Big fan of the two pickups that I have in that guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now do you have a guitar with bare knuckle pickups in it?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think of those?
All right. So, I love bare knuckles. My favorite bare knuckles are the mules. Mm-hmm. And I like those in a Les Paul. I've got those loaded into a 57 reissue gold top. Really love that. Pickup combination. Yeah.
And Charlie, what's your favorite pickup? I think I know the answer.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say what I use all the time. So the EVH Wolfgang pickup, predictably, but it's only because that is in the guitars that I have. So
yeah.
The other one is the FU tone pickups. I don't know if anyone's tried those, but
Johnny, I think, has a pair of those, right? You have a pair of FU tone pickups, Johnny?
I have a bridge one.
It sounds really cool, doesn't it?
I have yet to use it.
Oh wow! Really?
I was going to put it in a guitar, and I was going to have people vote on which guitar to put it in, and then all of a sudden this quarantine thing happened, and I don't know. That's a video. That's something I got to do. I got to do it.
They're quite similar to the EVH ones, but
yeah. It looks.
There's a definite difference. They've got a lot of clarity to them, so it's good for high gain, but still getting the string coming through.
I'm looking forward to getting a set of those myself. I got to put them in a guitar. Cool. I got to get a set and put them in a guitar.
I've actually they're in a guitar over there.
Adam,
this down.
You should put them in that hollow body.
Yeah, that'll work.
You'll have uncontrolled feedback nonstop.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd put them in the hollow body, but I do have some guitars here that I would definitely put them in.
Damp Taco Lover says bare knuckle Holy Divers sound great in a Super Strat. Holy Divers sound great in all types of guitars. It's an amazing pickup. I have it in a Super Strat. I've got it with a Seymour Duncan quarter pounder in the neck. Incredible. Lots of articulation. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Now, Charlie, which guitar is that? Is that the red one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was the first guitar I got that looked like a Van Halen guitar. And I'd only been playing like a year and a half, and I walked into the music shop, and the guy was, bearing in mind I'd been watching like Right Here, Right Now and all that stuff religiously for a year or so. And I walked in and he was walking up the ramp in the shop, and I could see the back of the head. I was like, oh my God. Like I knew what that headstock was. And anyway, it turns out, I don't think these were made for very long. You can't see the finish at all, but yeah, they're by a company called Jim Harley, and they completely like ripped it off, you know, having the switch there. And the only difference is where the volume pot is actually positioned. I think on the actual ones it's up here. On this it's slightly further down.
It's a little further out. Yeah.
Even the headstock is basically the same. So,
yeah, it looks real close.
So I've had this since I was 16, and which is 23 years. So that's depressing. Anyway, I finally got round to doing something with it, because I thought, well, it does look cool, and I know you can't see it in this light, but it has actually got quite a cool looking finish.
It looks very metallic on video. On the screen, it looks very metallic looking.
Yeah, it shouldn't. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. No, I can see it.
That's me, isn't it? You don't want to see me that close. No, forget it. That's not.
It's like a what do you call it? Like a tiger stripe.
Yeah, it's definitely got
you can see
flame maple in it, but it's just, you know,
it's like has Ned stripes.
And it's basically just bits of plywood all pieced together. You know, when you can see like the stacks of wood.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that. But anyway, so I decided I'm going to try and make it good. So we got the FU tone pickups in it, which sound really awesome. Like transformed what it was, and got the detuner on there. I actually stole that from the Bumblebee. Don't tell Gerd. The Bumblebee is minus detuner right now. And then that. So
wait,
yeah,
how? Wait, how? Let's see that block again.
Yeah.
In the back.
Well, I put a Washburn bridge on it. So this bridge is from. I used to have I used to be really into Dimebag and Pantera, and I had like a dime bolt. Which is, I was talking about Strats, and Les Paul's looking big. Fuck, should have seen that. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so I took the bridge of that and put it on here, and so it can only have this sort of block in it. You can't change it. It's horrific. It's the size of a bit of paper.
That's a pretty large piece of paper.
Yeah, a small pamphlet. So yeah, and I sounded down the neck and whatever. But yeah, no, it's cool anyway. But this was it. You know, when I got it, I was like, that's it. I've got humbuckers, and you know, because obviously I just had my Hohner Rockwood Strat until then. But yeah, this was rocking. So I played this all the time until I got my Wolfgang about 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So Charlie, you've mentioned Keith Scott, obviously EVH. Now you've mentioned Dimebag. I mean, who else is in your portfolio of influence?
Nuno's a massive one. The list would go Keith Scott, Initial, Eddie Van Halen, Life Changing, and then around the same time, like when I was 15, 16, the same friend lent me Porno Graffiti. And I was like, oh my God, that guy is a riff monster. And it you know, because that album is just great riff after great riff. It's
amazing.
Yeah. I don't know how he did it, and you know, and that groove and feel, and then obviously the soloing. So them, and then Randy Rhoads which then led to Zakk Wylde. Zakk Wylde was, I've learned a lot more Zakk Wylde than I have Randy Rhoads. In fact, I hardly learnt any Randy Rhoads, but I still admired what he did. And
What did you take away? What did you take away from Zakk? What's the top thing you take away from Zakk?
Probably the use of my, like the chicken picking type thing when I do that. And like, I'll use his pentatonic lick that he overuses. That. But I mean, I used to be really into it, and I could play a fair bit of it, but I'm not an aggressive player at all. So I don't, my vibrato doesn't cover like 2 tones.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd like to take. I'd like to take that away from Zakk. I'd like to take his vibrato away from him.
Yeah, it's a bit too much, but I mean, like the solos on No More Tears and Osmosis, they're my 2 favorite albums of Zakk. But then like the Black Label Society thing, I don't know, it just became predictable. It's like, well, let's just wait for that Zakk Wylde lick. There it is. And there's another pinch harmonic. It was just like a caricature of himself, really. Where
the pinch harmonics are way too much.
It's too much.
You're right. You were right. It's like a caricature of what a pinch harmonic should be.
Yeah, and so it kind of turned me off him, so to speak. So that was the end of that. But I still love the whole thing, and the fact that Zakk liked my picture the other day, which was amazing.
Saw that. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, really.
Brad the Sound Guy says I like his use of the Rotovibe, and I'll give an amen to that. I mean, he and Jerry Cantrell.
It's an awesome sound.
Both using the Rotovibe. Yeah.
So, now, are they using an actual Rotovibe, or are they using just a rotary speaker type pedal?
Well, I know Zakk had one on his board for years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love that pedal, but there are so many better ones out these days. Have you guys heard the what's it called? The Lex from Strymon is a great pedal, is a great rotary speaker. Oh goodness. There's one that's just, it kills them all, and it's tiny, and the only problem is it's 12 volts. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to think of it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a great pedal, and that one's a great pedal.
So after Zakk, it was Satriani Vi. I went down the Ibanez route and got an IG, and I got an S series. In fact, I had 2 S series. They've both gone, and then it was Dimebag, and then got into like Guthrie Govan, who was just incredible, and I learnt a hell of a lot from that. And Jason Becker I was into at one point, which is where, like, have you heard well, obviously Johnny has, what's it called? What's that album with Rain on it and End of the Beginning? Perspective. That album, and that's a big influence on my melody thing, because it's huge on melody. That and then
what did you take away from Guthrie, Charlie?
The fusion-y kind of ideas, and the slip slidey kind of, like taking legato and just flying over the neck with it, in a slidey kind of way, and also it's just everything about his playing, isn't it? It's just incredible.
He's probably the best out there. He's like a computer, but with human feel.
He's so musical. Like everything. I mean, he's got all the technique in the world under his hands, but he's a composer. He's musical. It still makes you feel something. The way in which he composes, he's got the best rhythm section in modern music. I mean, playing behind him.
He's incredible. He's amazing. So a lot of like it got me interested in the outside playing, and not playing outside. Can't do that now. So I can actually play in that style, believe it or not. I just don't make any videos of that. But I keep thinking of like writing a fusiony type song so people can hear me playing that style. But I always fall back to what I kind of always done. But yeah, so I can, play over changes and that sort of stuff. It's not all just pentatonic.
Well, no, we certainly hear that in your play. I mean, we certainly hear you playing over changes. I mean, and it really goes back to the conversation we were having in the first hour about how you dove into theory, chord theory, understanding what types of tones that you're playing under, and you're chasing those chord tones. But I've not really seen a lot of outside play. I've heard chromatic playing, certainly in your compositions, but outside playing is something that interests you.
Oh, definitely. I've always wanted that sound. I can only do certain things really, but it's it's something that I've always admired, but I don't think I'll ever get, because I don't absorb that music. I don't listen to it enough for it to be up there, because if it was up there, I could work it out. But because I don't listen to old school jazz, and because all the fusion guys are like, oh, Charlie Parker, blah blah blah, Miles Davis, I don't listen to any of that music. I'm not into that, But I really appreciate what they can do, and they're not winging it. They know exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely.
They know. Yeah, they know.
You can't.
They know the notes way ahead of time what they're going to do. Like they could be even in an improvisation solo. They know what notes they're going to play just before they play them. Like
definitely,
they're
and it is just, I don't know, but I get it, and but I've never got it to the point where there's a jazz tune called "The Chicken." I don't know if you've heard.
Sure,
and like I used to practice for ages and ages, like over a period of years, trying to solo over that, because basically it modulates between like 4 or 5 keys, that song. So you have to change like one note of the scale you're playing has to change for each chord change. So to try and like, oh, my back, I'm going to have to come off this or I'll lose power. Sorry. To try and solo like that and think about, oh shit, now I've got to add an E flat, now I've got to add and it's in a jazz key, which is really off-putting for everyone that's used to playing in E and A. It really appeals to me, but I can't do it comfortably. I couldn't sit in on a jazz gig and sound good. Are you still here?
I'm not sure that I believe that completely.
I can't hear you.
Not sure I believe that. I believe you could sit in on a jazz gig and sound amazing.
I decided to be quiet.
Someone in the chat
you hear us?
earlier.
You can't hear us.
He can't hear us.
I can.
Okay.
You can.
So someone in the chat earlier was talking about chord tones, and I apologize. I don't remember who wrote it, but it was.
I'll tell you what he's saying. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Can you not hear me?
Ty says, "Can you not hear me?"
Should I pull it up like this?
No.
That's really weird.
I'll translate for Ty.
Oh, can you not hear me at all?
Oh, can you not hear me at all?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Bean. That's what we have him here for, the comedy relief.
Incredible. Yeah.
Charlie, can you hear me at all?
Charlie, can you hear me?
I can hear everyone other than Ty.
Oh my goodness.
Ty, do me a favor. Can you drop out and come right back in?
That might be a blessing.
No. Ty, drop out and come right back in.
Okay.
So there.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, not really. You're pretty low in volume, and the audio's not matching lips.
Oh, I wonder what's going on. Shall I drop out and come
You
back
can't
in?
hear him now, Johnny? I can't hear you at all.
I can't hear Johnny.
Wow, I can't hear Johnny at all.
Oh wait, I'm supposed to make noise when
Oh,
I
there
talk.
you are.
Oh,
Nah,
that's it.
you're
Okay.
such a douche.
Douchebag, douchebag, douchebag. I can say douchebag on here. Awesome.
You can. You can say whatever you want. It's my channel. What are they gonna do? Slap me on the wrist? Here we go. Here we go. Welcome back. Say something.
Am I there?
You're there. Can you hear? Can you tie now? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
So I don't remember who was saying something in the chat earlier, but they were like, it's really about chord tones and arpeggios. And it was a really profound, I can't remember who to give credit to, but it really kind of echoed the point that you were making that, if you're chasing chords, you've got the chord tones and you've got the arpeggios and then you've got the melody behind what you're building. And we had a viewer. So
when I solo, I am thinking about, if I'm going for that big note at the end of a phrase or whatever, I am well aware of, or at least making myself aware of what chord it's going to land on. So I can hit a strong note. That is totally planned each time in my head. But
do you think about it in terms of note, or do you think about it in terms of interval? Like, I'm going to resolve to a 3, I'm going to resolve to a 5.
No, I don't think in terms of intervals really.
Okay.
It's just, if I'm playing over an A7, I'm likely to either go for the A or the G. Those will be the ones. A lot of the time, my licks will start on the root note and finish on the root note, to be honest. But yeah.
But you like that. You like that B2. You like that 9. I mean,
I love the 9. Yeah.
Yeah, you dig that. I mean, I hear that, and you're playing BB Ninja. I'm going to give you credit because you're right. That was you. It was chord tones, triads, and arpeggios, and that's exactly right. Those are the 3 tools that you're using when you're chasing chords. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And
thank you for that point, BB Ninja.
It's having fun around the chord tone, so it's learning to play around a chord, or an arpeggio, but adding in the additional notes, the passing notes, the whatever notes of a phrase that you might normally play, but kind of always within that area of the chord itself. So I practice that quite a lot. But a lot of the time, the solos and stuff I write, I don't really think too much about, but it's just occasionally the big note of the solo. It's like, well, it's going to be that. It's got to be that, and I tend to always end up hitting the similar kind of sounding notes, but that's just how it sounds. So have to do.
Well, you're so melodic that when I'm listening to compositions, I mean, you've got the bed and then you've got the melody sitting on top of it. And we were talking earlier about it being singable, playing what you're hearing in your head, which is such good advice for all of us to be able to play what we can sing.
Do. Yeah, I think to work that stuff out, those licks that in your head, like one of the blues ones I've always had in my head, which you should all know because you're American, is the theme tune to Roseanne. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how that went? And it was like that, like that. That, because I used to watch that program as a kid, like a real child. I mean, I used to love it. I thought that was the coolest sounding thing ever. So that lick is ingrained in my head. So that's one of the ones that I know. So as long as you can play those licks that in your head, then you can effectively play what's in your head, can't you? So when we sing the solos over something, like you might, if you're mad, you can actually play that. If you can play those licks that you can sing, So that's my approach to it, anyway.
I think that's what it's all about.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it works, and the melodies in terms of what I write over like the songs I've put out recently. That's coming from my head more than where my fingers will naturally go, and like we were saying before, it's the one string thing. So I will reach for certain notes, and it takes it in a certain direction. And occasionally I'll play a note that I didn't plan up there or think of up there, and then it turns out to be all right, and I'll leave it like that. Happy accident sort of thing. But yeah, no, I think the melody is just so important. I think
absolutely.
That's the bit that people are going to remember, and I mean, me, like a lot of other people, I imagine, I find YouTube and Instagram and the guitarists on it, I find it really demoralizing more than inspiring. And because everyone plays the guitar, everyone seems to be fucking amazing, and they have this amazing technique, and they have all this, but then you listen and you're like, but where's the tune? Like, where's the feel? What is this? What is them about this? What's human about this that you haven't just spent hours doing that? And ultimately it doesn't do anything for me, but it brings me down, and I'm like, oh, I don't know why I bother. It's just like, technically they're so good, and I think that's why I ended up I've always been melodic anyway, but really focusing in on that so much more than anything else, because the melody is what makes songs memorable, and then throw in a bit of whatever you would call it, I don't know, just the tricks and whatever, and I can write those in a way that it kind of flows into it, and or just improvise something, but ultimately always going back to the melody. It's like super important, I think. But
that's well said.
I've got to be honest, when I do these songs, like the ones I put out, I always think, by the third chorus I'm like, is this just really boring? I don't because for me the melody isn't, I'm sure the inflections would take a while to kind of get the hang of, because there's technique in there obviously, but it's like, this is actually quite a simple melody and all of that. But
yeah, but simple is good. Simple is good, especially being I'm not going to call you a shred guitar player, but you got some shred in you. I mean, it's all melodic, but you do have the ability to shred. So the simple melodies sound great. It makes it better. It makes it that much better, in my book.
And then you really appreciate when you do get something flashy in it. It's like, was that a sudden little flurry of notes? And it's like, you can play. Because as guitarists, it's the whole standing there with your arms crossed watching kind of thing, and you're waiting, aren't you? Because you want to know there'll be something that guy does that may really impress you, or maybe this is it. Maybe this is all he can do, and that's okay. But he's not to my standard, that sort of thing. We all think like that. I think. Well, I do, or used to. So. Yeah, I feel confident in playing the melodic stuff because I know I have chops and I can do the other stuff, but that doesn't make good music to me. That's listening to exercises. Like I remember when because I used to watch the Paul Gilbert instructional videos, which were amazing.
But you can't learn anything from those. It's more like entertainment. He's just
he's
you can't. Yeah. How can you learn? He's just so good.
He's so good, and obviously technically he's flawless.
Yeah.
So it was like, right, okay. So I learned from that, those videotapes and the John Petrucci one, and so like in terms of what I put out, you wouldn't see much of that in my playing, but I have learned all those exercises and whatever. But then you listen to bands like, not to throw them under the bus, I'm not doing that, but like Trivium and Bullet for My Valentine, those sort of modern metal bands, and their solos are just the Paul Gilbert instructional video. That's all you're hearing is exactly those licks, like I was talking about earlier, just piecing licks together and going, well, use that Paul Gilbert exercise there, that one there, and that one,
Well,
and that's where it's not musical. You're not playing what's up Well,
And
you
that's-
are playing what's up. But it's
That's
not.
exactly what I don't like about White Lion and Vito Bratta, because it's like he pulls little pieces of Eddie's solos and puts them in his songs, and I'm like, that's cheating. That's not right.
Yeah,
You can't.
isn't
Why?
it, when you're just
You know.
blatantly. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is amazing.
Don't get me wrong. He's a great guitar player, but he is a blatant ripoff of Eddie Van Halen.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Here's where I'm
Yeah,
going
it
to
was
push back
huge
just a
note.
bit, and here's my push off on that, Dave. I can sing his solos. Amazing technique, memorable. And you, look, I'm trying to evaluate. I'm trying to process what you just said, because I can probably hear some of that critique in my own playing. But I do find some originality in the way in which he composes the technique into a solo. And it does challenge me. I mean, the Waits solo challenges me.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm not saying that the Waits solo isn't amazing, because it is, and his playing is amazing, but he's made all that, and once he went to the Steinberger guitar, all bets are off. He became himself when he came into himself when he started playing the Steinberger. But when he was playing an ESP with a Floyd Rose on it, he was a blatant ripoff of Eddie Van Halen. His sound was early Van Halen. His technique was early Van Halen, and he blatantly took parts of Eddie's solos and put them into solos of his songs, and that's what I don't like about him.
Yeah, I think that's a bit much when you do that. I think there are ways of like paying tribute to it, but to him, but just blatantly ripping licks and putting them in your own song without even changing the notes. It's a bit much. But I mean,
I do agree with you, Ty, in that his solos are memorable. You can sing them, but you can sing any one of Eddie Van Halen's solos as well.
Yeah. I mean, well, look. I mean, he's the pinnacle for me. I mean,
everyone wants to sound like Eddie Van Halen, and everyone wants to be able to play like Eddie Van Halen. At least everyone in this, in our chat and us here, we all want to do that. We all want to be able to reach that. But when you're making records and you're making original music records, you could at least have your own gig. You can at least have your own sound and your own, your own thing. Don't rip off someone else blatantly. I mean, yeah, we all take from each other and make it our own. We try to make it our own. But that guy, that's, maybe I'm just blowing a lot of hot steam out of my mouth, but I really truly believe this, that it's, it's this. And listen, I have the same problem with Kenny Wayne Shepherd ripping off Stevie Ray Vaughan in the early days. Now Kenny Wayne is doing pretty much his own thing, and he's kind of got his own style now. He does a little bit of Stevie Ray in his playing, but it's more his own style. But in the beginning, when he was young, he was like a mini-me of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I didn't dig that. Same thing with Joe Bonamassa and Eric Johnson. He played every Eric Johnson lick in the world. And although he's another monster player, and now he's playing more like himself today, I respect that. But, a few years ago, he was just playing Eric Johnson licks in his songs. And I'm like, I don't dig that, no matter how good he plays them.
Yeah,
but you are so. So these are the kind of conversations that Dave and I have on Tuesday nights. I mean, here or Monday nights or whenever we're talking. I mean, here's what we're doing. But Kenny Wayne Shepherd is the most articulate blues playing Stratocaster wielding dude on planet Earth right now. I mean,
that's alive.
Is it?
No. I'm saying not a lie. It's not a lie. He's the best guy that's alive. He's the best guy that's alive right now that's doing that sort of thing. But, you know, in his younger years, you can close your eyes, take his version of Voodoo Child. It's Stevie Ray Vaughan's version of Voodoo Child. He didn't put anything of his own in it. At least with Stevie Ray,
he's not singing on Voodoo Child.
Voodoo
Child.
I'm not worried. I'm not talking about the singing. I'm talking about the exact guitar playing. He pretty much verbatim plays that song the way Stevie Ray Vaughan played it. Stevie took what Jimi Hendrix did and made it his own. The Jimi Hendrix version and the Stevie version are two different versions. They're similar, but they're very different. But if you listen to Kenny Wayne play it, even today, he still plays it the same exact way as Stevie Ray Vaughan played it in the El Macambo video. It's that version. It's exactly that. And you know, being that it's a cover song, I'm okay with that. But the whole Stevie Ray Vaughan feel and note choice and just everything, including, I'll give you this, Kenny Wayne Shepherd even has the stage moves that Stevie Ray Vaughan had. He does the same movements, the same type of thing. It's like he's taking Stevie's gig. It's that bothers me. That being said, I think he's a wonderful guitar player, great blues player, plays the hell out of a Stratocaster. But, you know, growing up, I think.
I mean, look, Quentin James is with you. He agrees with you. Kenny Wayne Shepherd moves me as a player. He moves me as a player. He makes me want to play guitar better than I play. He inspires me to push through the wall. I think that he is, especially on the last 3 or 4 records. All right. So Deja Voodoo, there's a lot of Stevie Ray technique in those records. I don't know that he had the musical maturity to emulate Stevie Ray at that point. I mean, he recorded that record at, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a.
I think it was 17 or 18.
So he didn't have the musical maturity to emulate Stevie Ray at that point, right?
Yeah, right. I agree with you there.
But you listen to a Kenny Wayne Shepherd record, I mean, he makes you want to just be better, man. I mean, his tone, his note choice, the chord chasing, the dominant 7 that's in his playing. I mean, you just want to be better, right?
Well, I'm not saying that he's not a great guitar player. He's unbelievable. I wish to play like him. I could only hope to be as good as he is on his bad days. That being said, I think, well, it's all moot now, because nowadays he has his own style. He plays like himself. He's got his own thing going. But back in the early days, I really didn't respect him, because I'm like, dude, come on, man. Just because Stevie Ray's dead, you think you can take his gig? Come on. You know, I really thought that way.
I mean, I hear you. Someone made a point earlier in the chat. They mentioned Eric Gales.
I love Eric.
Oh, me too. Very, very original voice. God, I wish I could remember who to assign credit to. But real quick, I just want to say hello to Quentin James. He said hello to all of us, and I didn't get a chance to acknowledge him. So, hey, Quentin. Hey, Quentin James. So glad you're here. Thank you for being here with us. Yeah. So, no, I'm with you. I think I'm 50% with you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I listen. That's what makes the game of baseball. We all have our own opinions. You know, everyone's different, and everything I say is not necessarily fact. It's my opinion. That's all. Unless I'm talking about gear, it's just all opinion.
Yeah. Me too.
You know.
Yeah, me too. It's all subjective.
Yeah.
And this is what makes the community great. We all have different opinions, perceptions, attitudes, beliefs. This is what all makes it great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Well, listen, on that note, I want to say thank you to Liquid Charlie for being our guest.
Oh,
What a
thank
wonderful
you.
guest. I also want to say thank you to Johnny Bean for joining us. That was a special treat. It kind of brought a little bit of comedy to the show, which we all need every once in a while. It's excellent. Plus, I also want to really thank him again for teaching me how to do this. And, I appreciate it. So check out Johnny Bean. Johnny, who's the guest tomorrow night?
I don't know.
Oh, that's so funny.
Click on my name and go over to the community tab and you'll see it.
Johnny, I'm so glad you were able to join us tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great seeing you. I think last time I saw you was what?
It's been a while.
It's been like a few. It's been a long time.
It's been a while, but I'm so glad you were able to join us. And look, Charlie knows he's one of my favorite people. I mean, I spent some time with Charlie earlier in the week just talking about how great he is at capturing his guitar voice, recording his voice, how he layers things. I mean, he is really an innovator in the way in which he is sharing his creativity with all of us. And look, the videos are top notch, Charlie. I mean,
no, you're very kind. Thank you.
Just top notch, and the music, the EP is tremendous. The video you released today, Lost Balance,
Awesome.
is brilliant.
Yeah.
Just brilliant.
Thank you. Well, I'd see it all as like a work in progress. It's all, I just want to keep polishing.
Well, the work in progress is really it's paying off because you're just a wonderful guitar player and writing wonderful stuff. By the way, tomorrow night's show on the Johnny Bean Show, we're gonna have Kirk Weinstein.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Crowbar.
Yes, that's it.
Crowbar. Do you know Crowbar?
Yeah. Sort
Or did
of.
somebody type that?
He's in Down as well, isn't
No.
he? He's in
But it
Down,
sounds like
isn't he?
someone's typing right
He's
now.
awesome, dude. I did a test with him yesterday, and he's the nicest guy, man.
He
Awesome.
seems like a cool guy.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone in the chat. Appreciate you every week coming down and hanging out with us and
Certainly do. Thank you very much.
yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you,
Just as a sidebar, if anyone wants to contribute to the virtual tip jar, and you don't have to, this is not you don't have to do it, but we appreciate it if you do.
What means do?
Just PayPal me at dnrwb5150@aol.com, and every little bit helps, and we appreciate it. And again, you don't have to if you don't want to. Just if you'd like to, that would be awesome. Ty, thank you so much again. What a wonderful night. Yeah, excellent questions. It's great hanging out with you and doing the show with you as always. That being said, everyone hang out for a second, and we'll see you all next week.